I thought you were coming to discuss where we are in and how to get out of it.
Yes, but the fact is that
if the federal government refuse to pay their own agreement, what do they expect?
My people, a lot is happening in the political zone. You will see in this video the reason why most politicians like avoiding SEUN, OKINBALOYE's and RUFAI OSENI of Arise TV News question whenever they are being interviewed on their channels. Everywhere scattered at the earlier of today as ASU Rock was in panic right after an interview with Oshiomole surfaced online with Channels TV where SEUN OKINBALOYE asked some sensitive questions. So now my people, what Oshiomole said has raised a lot of panic that is still trying to betray APC because all what he said in this video was more or less like talking against the present policy which has in one way or the other caused a lot of panic in the country, caused a lot of pain in the country with present high prices of commodity. Oshiomole even said that most of the policies that the present administration is working with is way too harsh on the people, that he will talk because his conscience cannot let him keep quiet. He said a lot of things in this video that a lot of people were not expecting. My people, share this video to every social media platform. If you cannot share, like it, give it a thumbs up so that YouTube will recommend it for us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Lagos TV show.
The home of crime scene.
It's happening in the street again.
The center of political news, celebrity gossip, religious gossip, and happenings in the society.
Join us, the voice of Africa.
Welcome you to Large Report TV show where we bring you political, celebrity and religious gossip. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, do well to click the red subscription button and don't forget to click the bell icon so that YouTube will notify you anytime we drop another trendy video. My people, a lot of people were surprised after seeing and hearing what Oshiomole said in this video. Most of these politicians know the right thing to do, but the power to implement them is what people don't understand why they are not implementing them. With this, Oshiomole gives some statement in this video. He clearly didn't want to say some things against his party and President Bola Ahmed TINUBU because it's obvious. When you watch the video, you will see it clearly. Even at that, the little he said about this present administration shows he can't survive in it without doing what he thinks is right. From this video, he said had he been he knew that SEUN OKINBALOYE was going to ask him this type of questions, he wouldn't have showed up. And a lot of politicians are avoiding SEUN OKINBALOYE and even RUFAI OSENI of Arise TV News because of their sensitive questions that most politicians, if not careful, will fall for the trap their question will land them in. Oshiomole said they inherited a bad economy from the previous government, which is still under APC. Now my question is, who made Buhari won the election? Who and who rigged the election for him? Who stood by him throughout his tenure? Is it not this same Bola Ahmed TINUBU that was in charge of everything? So why making a statement that they inherited a bad government from a party that is of similar politician? What I actually picked from this video is that obviously they know that this country is crumbling right under their nose. Oshiomole says something that for the fact that the fuel subsidy has been removed, which we know that this action will make the prices of commodity in the country to increase, then government should make sure that the 35% addition to the worker salary should be implemented. If the government are getting more money from the people, then they should be able to disburse more money to workers because a lot of people are suffering. My protest here and there, kidnapping and abduction is non-stop till this present moment, and this government have not found a solution to it. This is not acceptable, though Oshiomole made it clear in this video. If we try not to be emotional about his discussion in this video, I would like if you can stay to the end of this video. Listen to what he said because most politicians do not have the confidence to come online and say all this, which he said. My people, see what he said. Be right back after the video.
Well, this is not my understanding why you invited me, but there is no denying the fact, and I think even the Mr. President appreciate the fact that cost of living is rising. It has risen and it is rising, and he's committed to do something about it. One thing I think we just must accept is that there is no overnight solution to the economic challenges that President Bola Ahmed TINUBU inherited. Our CBN was mismanaged, some will say even bastardized. It went into all sorts of things. I'm not sure with the best of effort they will ever be able to recover every dollar that was otherwise mismanaged, leading us to this mess that President TINUBU has inherited. What I think the system needs is a man of courage, and precisely that is what the president is demonstrating. Of course, some of the prescription in the short run, we have a huge pain, like carrying out a surgery on a patient with a life-threatening disease. Of course, he will undergo a level of pain, and even sometimes he might wonder if he will survive the surgery. But I think it's better to have the pain early in the morning so that by evening we will have a good sleep. These are tough, but as I say, tough times don't last, tough people do. I am convinced that the president is aware that is important, and that we must keep thinking and rethinking. We must keep re-examining our assumptions as we get more informed about the scope of the crisis. We need to invent new tools to deal with these unforeseen and unimaginable problems that we have inherited in very virtually in every aspect of the Nigeria economy. The prize is not to give up hope. Like somebody said, if you meet children crying and you want to make them happy, maybe you should just go and buy ice cream and give them to eat, and once they are eating it for as long as it lasts, they'll be fine. But once it's over, the hunger remains. So I think some structural, there are a couple of things that this government has to do, which is doing. What I'm excited about is that the president has the will to do the unusual. Now, there will always be a time lag between when policies are formulated, when they are put in place, and when the benefit of those policies begin to manifest. It can never be a 6-month program, unfortunately. I wish it could be faster, but it can be. And unfortunately, what has also compounded this problem is the fact that at this point in time, most countries around the world, developed and developing, their citizens are experiencing various levels of hardship. I have traveled to the US and I watch TV, CNN, and I see Americans, middle-class people talking about challenges of paying their bills. I've seen a British guy lamenting on BBC talking about, oh, I can't afford my breakfast anymore, so I have to cut that to 2 meals a day. So everybody has to cut down, but we have to admit that there are challenges. But this is not a reason to pity the president, because like I always say when we ask him, he asked for the job. He knew this is not about ice-making machine. He knew he has to fix a country that was deeply in crisis. Some of them deliberately created, others inherited, and so on and so forth. But aware of this, he has offered himself, and he is determined and he has what it takes to get it fixed. There could be some mistakes along the line. What we must avoid is not to resort to panicky measures that may be counterproductive. So we must ensure that all the policy choices we make are sustainable, and that in the long run, Nigerians will look back and say, oh, we thought it was over, here we are. That is my hope. There's no denying the fact that there are challenges. Well, I think you are contradicting yourself with due respect when you say, how did you put it? Something like painful and whatever. This is not a football match that is built for 90 minutes with the possibility of extra time of 30 minutes. And if there is no solution, you go for penalty shootout. You are dealing with an economy that in all facets has had its own challenges. Job creation, unstable currency, leakages here and there, etc., etc. Now, as to the question about whether leaders are in touch with the people, with the reality, if they were not in touch, all the talk you had about reviewing minimum wage, some debate as to how do we deal with food prices in the short run. Should we resort back to importation? Should we insist that we incentivize our farmers and get them back to the farm and give them all the incentive they need to produce the food that we need? All of that doesn't suggest that the leadership is not at home, is not aware of the challenge that we face. I think the president is very much aware. All of us are very much aware. I am very much aware. This last week on the floor of the Senate, we debated these issues. We debated the issue of security. We debated the issue of high cost of living. And we debated the fact that we are not here to lament it. We are here to teach through solutions and fix it. Now, if you ask me how long it's going to take, I will tell you no, it's not I'm not in a position to prescribe time. But that something serious is being done, yes. That the president is determined to fix it, yes. That he has enough good hands around him who share his conviction that the economy will be fixed, yes. But when are you going to say it has been fixed? No, not a correct question. Because at the end of the day, this process, we will keep on managing it. First is to stabilize, because you met a country that's just going down. Your first step is to stabilize it. After you stabilize, you begin to go up. And that journey has to continue prayerfully, that you don't suffer another shock as to dim again. And so nobody who wants to be honest with you will say, well, I think in 3 months it is fixed. But I admit that the human being can't be subjected to hardship in a manner that makes him begin to wonder if there is hope for tomorrow. Yes, we do need to take some measures to cushion while we work on long-term sustainable solutions. It depends on what you understand. I have always said, even at this station, and when I was in the Nigeria Labour Congress, if there is conflict between what I consider to be Nigerian national interest and a political party, or indeed any other organization that I belong to, I have no hesitation in subordinating my party interests to the bigger national interests. I have also argued that all the political parties put together, they are not up to the subtotal of the Nigerian nation. So my first loyalty is to the Nigerian nation. And yes, the fact that we belong to APC, at a point, if you follow the bill, you were too busy maybe in Abuja. Even before the last president left office, I lamented aloud, queried aloud, and denounced aloud what I saw as reckless policies that were designed to dehumanize a population that was already in pain. And I thought that that is not what the then president promised. And I said I dissociated myself from those policies. And I'm happy that I wasn't the only one. There were governors who felt so strong that they went to approach the court to deny some of those policies. It is the long-term, some of the consequences of those policies that we are still grappling with now. I am on record as saying that those who say our currency will expire, not due to our own fault, confiscating our currency, but with the change of government, they will expire and our currency will be valid. And this has come to pass. There is no denying this. Yes, it's our party platform. Bola Ahmed TINUBU also said he was never a minister in that government. He was not an advisor in that government. He never took contract in that government, and then we cannot be held responsible for what the government did right or did wrong. But I don't think tonight you want to, I really don't find any joy, because like I said to my colleagues on the Senate, I did come to Abuja to lament. Let's think of what do we do differently to fix it. So because anything that has to do with overflogging what we didn't do right yesterday, I'm not sure how helpful is it. It's not exciting. I thought you were coming to discuss where we are in and how to get out of it.
Yes, but the fact is that
if you told me that you were going to organize a tutorial on history, I would have found a more convenient day to do that. I did come for that.
So, comrade,
I am not here to discuss what some people didn't get right yesterday. I am here to discuss what we must do differently and fix the challenges that we face. My dear friends, you know, I have attended a lot of conferences, economic talk shows, etc. You know, when the economists or commentators talk about low-hanging fruit, sometimes I ask myself, how low is the hanging fruit? Because for you and I, given our own peculiar challenges, what is a low-hanging fruit to a 6-footer? It's extremely high-hanging fruit for you and I, because we can't touch it. So there are some of these concepts that are not problematized. Now, you want to give a food to the dwarf, you put it on top of this high table. Look at the challenges I had getting on top of this seat. So there's no such thing as low-hanging fruit. In the real world, it's nice to talk about them in conferences, make some concept here and there, but truth is, every policy choices has implications. There is none that you say, oh, I can only see the benefit. It has side effect. Some will benefit, some will suffer some pain. On the whole, the challenge for public policy maker is, which of these policies will best deliver the greatest good to the greatest number, amid competing interests and coming under pressure from various vested interests. That is a situation every state executive must face, whether at the local government level, at the state level, and obviously at the national level. Because, do you know my honest view about this? Because like I said, Labour is my constituency. Without Labour, nobody will know that Oshiomole exists. So nothing and absolutely nothing will change me from who I am. I have some pain, and I said this on the floor of the Senate last Tuesday. Yes, the federal government approved 35,000 naira increase on top of current wage levels. And I said, I am unable to understand why any Nigeria state governor or government is not implementing that agreement. So I don't even agree with you that it was for federal employees. Federal employees don't have different market from state employees. And the struggle that was mobilized, the workers of Nigeria were mobilized, both private and public sector, in what we call a general strike. Before that, 35,000 was awarded. By implication, therefore, all state governments, all local governments, all private sector employers, and of course, all federal government employees should implement it. I don't think NSC business is to lament it. They should fight for the implementation of their right. Any government that refuses to implement the 35,000 is not entitled to peace. I mean, this is my view. But general strike, we wasn't called a national. If it was the federal government employees, then the negotiation should have been between the federal government and this federal civil service union. When NSC negotiate on behalf of all workers, whether federal, state, local government, and private sector. If it is purely federal affairs, there is federal civil service union. If it is purely private sector affair, you have a Nigeria Employers Consultative Association that will have a meeting with the NLC. But when NLC against the federal government, and I know that state governments were represented in those meetings, the agreement reached, in my opinion, ought to apply, ought to have national application. So including you in China, you should increase your pay by at least 35,000. Every employer in Nigeria, that is my understanding. Because there is no disputing the fact that whereas the subsidy has triggered increase in prices, there is no denying the fact that as a consequence, the revenue in nominal terms accrued to states, federal and state government has also doubled. Some might say it has tripled. Because if at the time of negotiation it was 500 naira, and the exchange rate is now 1,000, whatever, 200, 300, 400, it means that what is available to the federation account for distribution has also quadrupled. So why will you keep workers' wages fixed? I don't agree with that.
So you support labor on this one?
If the federal government refuses to pay their own agreement, what do they expect? No, when it comes to these issues, my conscience tells me where I stand. Because I can't survive on my own pay. My cook can't survive on his own pay. He has to go home and come back. I mean, we are not living in the moon. So, but my problem with the NSC is apply your tools selectively. When I was president of the NSC, we have agreement. If the federal government is not implementing, we target the federal government. If a particular state government is not implementing, we limit our action to that particular state government. It is not that if one state government is defaulting, then you spread the protest, in which case there is no incentive for obedience. So I don't have the details. I have not had opportunity to discuss with them the specific of this agreement, but I will make a qualified comment. If it is true that the federal government is not implementing the 35%, as far as I know, in the National Assembly, they told me they have started implementing. I have also heard from workers in the federal employment as also not implementing. What I heard is that most of the state governments are not implementing. But my attitude is this: whether state government, federal government, private sector employers, everyone should implement that minimum of 35%. Because even the private sector employers, they have increased the prices of their product. When you talk of high cost of living, is a result of the new price regime that manufacturers push to the market. So if they are making more naira, they should also pay more naira to their employees. So for me, that is it. But I don't have the details. But I think NSC must know how to selectively apply their carrot and stick. If an employer is paying wages, is obeying the agreement, the workers in the employment of that employer have no business joining the strike. The strike should be focused on those recalcitrant employers, whether they are in the public sector or in the private sector. That's my view. And it is wrong to call a general strike if at the end of the strike an agreement is reached. That agreement should have national application. If we all went to the kitchen to bake the bread, when it is ready, all of us must partake in the eating. So you can't mobilize all the workers for a strike and then you get concession, and then the concession is limited to federal government alone. Because the benefit of devaluation and of the withdrawal of subsidy affects positively the treasury and the allocation available for distribution to all tiers of government. And therefore, all tiers of government should obey the 35,000 naira increase. I don't know whether, so I'm not going to comment on legal issues. But price control, we've had it before. And even the concept of essential commodity is a bit problematic. What is essential to you may not be essential to me. I feel what government needs to do, what I think is viable, is that we should all put on our tiki cap and provide solutions or suggestions to government on what needs to be done differently to stabilize prices. But one thing is obvious to me, as long as your exchange rate is not stable, it is highly improbable that any particular price of any particular item will be stable, because they are all intertwined. But when it comes to law, Femi Falana was the only one who has set me out of, got me released from the hands of my oppressors when I was president of the NSC. So if he is going to court, it's not a frivolous-minded person. He must have done his research and is convinced that that is doable. But I think it's not, for me, price is not a legal issue, because there is no section in the Constitution where a price of a particular product is stated. The concern of everyone is, how do we halt this galloping inflation? I think it's a legitimate concern. If law can solve it, fine, but I'm not too sure, because no law is worth it. No judgment. How do they say it now? Judges will always tell you that you don't enter a judgment that is not enforceable.
My people, you can actually see from the video, you will see that Adam Oshiomole himself can actually feel that the people of this country are actually undergoing some kind of harsh economy. The cost of living in the country is actually risen up to the point that people can no more bear it. You see the way he's actually talking in that video. If there were to be another politician from APC, he would have come online trying to defend his own party, his own present party, and the president of the country, which is of APC. He would have tried to, defend them, that this is what's actually happening, this is what's actually happening, and that's what we have been doing. Though he actually said some things doing support of President Bola Ahmed TINUBU, but he never stopped saying some things against his own party, because what he said in that video actually shows that if it were to be another party that came online, that was the same thing that person would have said. He actually came online to come and clear his conscience. The cost of living is actually so hard for the people, even with the fact that people are under high cost of living. They are being abducted, being killed, and still being kidnapped by some set of people that we don't even know. But though I personally know that our government knows about all this kidnapping and all, because how did these people get all the rifles and guns that they are using to kill people, and after that they still kidnap them? How do these people have the chance to get a gun to operate in the country? One of the politicians already said that if there's any terrorism that has before this country, or that is going to before this country, and within 24 or 48 hours and it's not being covered, then some of the politicians or the governments in power knows about it. You actually see that he actually talked about the CBN mismanagement. You could see that Emefiele has already been arraigned in the court for all the shenanigans that actually happened during his tenure as the CBN governor. But what baffles me now is that, is it not this same APC member that he was working under? He was operating under this APC party when all these things were happening. What was actually happening in that APC party? All of them are against each other. You said you inherited the bad government from the same party that you are part of. So what's actually happening? Are we the one that will now come online and tell you that, okay, you are not supposed to do something like this, or we have to collect this party from APC so as to be able to correct them? You guys have been the one ruling for the past 8 years, and you are still the one coming online to complain that you inherited a bad government from the previous administration, which is of APC. You could see everything that is actually happening online now. You could see that if it were to be another politician, I'm very sure he wouldn't have been able to say all these things that Adam Oshiomole said in this video. Though some of his party members will frown against what he said on Channel TV News about all the things that is actually happening in this country, but if you actually look at it from the brighter part of it, this is actually what we're expecting from our politicians when they are in power. They should be responsible for whatever they might have done or that is actually causing havoc in the country. You will see the way he actually talked in this video. I am very sure that there is nothing bad in coming to a Channel TV news or coming to an online channel to come and say whatever that is actually happening in your party. The country is against the party, this present party in power. Even President Bola Ahmed TINUBU traveled out of the country on a private journey, which is actually against the constitution of the country. As a sitting president, you are not even supposed to operate any personal business, because they feel that if you are operating the personal business while in power, there are some things that you'll be doing in power that will suit that particular business that you are doing, which is not even supposed to be like that. The country is down, everything is going down, the naira to dollar rate is bad, and you still create a chance for yourself to leave this country to another place in a country that you were not even recognized when you entered. The whole president of a country enters into another country, and the president of that country never even acknowledge your presence in the country, and you call yourself the president of one country, and everything that is happening in that country you show no concern, as at the time you were outside the country. Now the country is going down the drain, but he has never found any solution to it. The foods that we purchased at lower rates before has now been purchased times 100 after he has emerged as the president of the country. My people, feel free to share your opinion at the comment section about everything that is actually happening in this country. Is this how this country will continue to crumble right under the nose of President Bola Ahmed TINUBU, which people actually feel that he is the right person to do the job, but why is everything actually happening in the opposite direction? Feel free to share your opinion at the comment section. Don't forget to share this video to every social media platform. If you cannot share it, like it, give it a thumbs up so that YouTube will recommend it for us. And if you are coming across this channel for the very first time, do where to click the red subscription button, and don't forget to click the bell icon so that YouTube will notify you anytime we drop another trendy video. See you in our next video. Bye for now.